Welcome back to Lightmatter. I jumped back into this previous level just to complete it again, and I guess we'll avoid the dev commentary for now, because apparently there's a half-eaten cake here somewhere, and I didn't see that. Surely that must have been like over here. I thought I checked pretty thoroughly to see if I could see that. Didn't I? Cake? Cake? Where the hell is this half-eaten cake you're talking about?
What betrayal is. In the mountain, before this facility, Arthur and I would work together weeks on end to finish the first photon connectors. All those cold, dark nights, and suddenly, breakthrough. A web of light surrounded us. It was mesmerizing. Betrayal is knowing that moment meant nothing to him.
Cake? Yeah, it has to be over here. I don't see any cake here. I looked around all of this pretty thoroughly too, I thought. Where's a half-eaten cake?
All right now, you're getting close to the core, but the quakes are getting... Hold on. Yes, James? James, you have brawn, not brains. My new assistant and I have the situation under control. Stay at the outpost. Keep everyone safe. Goodbye. You know, assistant, I'm starting to enjoy your company and the qualities you possess. You are persistent, replaceable, and silent.
Where the hell is the cake they talked about? I don't see any cake anywhere. I've been lied to. Like, how hidden could this thing be? When they're like, I hope people notice the half-eaten cake. Where the fuck is it? I can't see it anywhere. I really have no idea what they're talking about with a cake. It has to be in this level, right? It's not the previous one they were talking about. Nothing in the darkness here. Yeah, I have no idea. Half-eaten cake. Very strange. Well, I guess I'll have to just ignore it, and if it is the achievement, then we'll get to it later on, when I'm probably just gonna look them up after I'm done with this, but yeah, I don't know what's going on with that. It's kind of strange. When they specifically said, I hope people notice that, and it's something I can't even see, even when I know about it, or know that it exists. Maybe I just misunderstood something, I don't know. But yeah, here we go.
When you are working as an indie game development team
Wow.
and are first-timers, as we are, there are a lot of things you don't know, and there's a lot of things you don't know how to react to or expect how to react. So if you have the possibility, it's super important and good, and can be good for you to work with contract workers who are very experienced and have been through this like many times, to help inject this expert knowledge
Well,
into your
huh?
project with things that you make.
What? You just listen to the devlog and you get the achievement for contract work? Really? I heard that tool is quite a hit. What? Okay. That's kind of weird. Why not just have, like, an achievement for, oh, you listened to the entirety of the dev commentary. There you go. And, like, every time you finish one, you would get a little tick or something in your save file. But then I wouldn't even get that because I cut one off. Well, the game, like, crashed or something. I can't remember what happened. Or it blue screened. No. I don't know what happened. Yeah, that's strange.
We didn't even know about, or with things that you know about but you don't know how to solve it or don't have the time to solve it, because there are a million other things you need to do. And we've been able to work with the Alexandra Institute here in Denmark, who we have been able to work with through some funding we got. And this funding is so important and crucial for us to be able to elevate the game and the shadows.
Yes, and they work with the shadow system inside as well.
Yes, they did. And and because we knew we had the shadows, and we knew there was problems with them. Both, especially visually.
Yeah, and in terms of performance.
Exactly. Yeah. And
still a problem, by the way.
We had tried to do something ourselves, and we had tried to do something with some people we knew, and just talked about. But we could just see that it wasn't enough to fix the problem at its core and really make something different, make a difference in the game. And this is where we started working with Alexandra Institute, and it's always super hard to like let go of your project, but it's the same thing with working with a publisher and stuff like that. You have to let go because,
I mean, technically you don't. That's what being indie is all about. Like, it not having a publisher and not letting go and doing things your own way. So you don't have to do that. But I'm not saying that's always the best idea. I'm sure there's plenty of good things to be gained from, everything they're talking about. But still, just know.
Like, because if you just keep it to yourself, you will find out after you release your game and stuff like that you're actually losing more by keeping control. And you need to, and it's so important that you share your projects, your visions, your ambitions, because otherwise you will never get a second opinion about it. And second opinion by experts is never a bad thing.
No. So without going into too much technical details, with shadows in this game, like, there are two things. One is the functional part, like how do we detect that a player is inside a shadow or not? And then there's the visual, like rendering these shadows. And from our initial prototype way back, we already kind of had a system for detecting shadows using some simple raycasting, where we basically, for each light in the scene, we draw some lines down to the feet of the player. And then we see if they can actually hit the feet of the player or not. If they cannot hit it, then it means it must have hit something else. For example, an obstacle, a box, a door, whatever. And therefore, the player is probably in shadow. But we do this for multiple points just to be sure, because if it was only 1 point, then the tiny shadow could kill the player. That is fairly simple to make, and we have had that for a long time in the game. But when the game became bigger and bigger, and the levels grew, then we got more lights into the level. And the problem with lights is that they are dynamic, and the way you draw the shadows, or the way you calculate shadows, is really expensive, because you use what is known as shadow mapping, where you basically imagine every light works as a camera as well, where it kind of takes a snapshot of what it can see. And that snapshot is what is known as a shadow map, where it stores the depth values, so it knows what is the closest to this camera or this light. and we use these shadow maps to draw shadows on objects, and the more lights and objects you have, the more expensive it gets, and like we can have some scenes have 5 lights in them, some have like 20 lights or even more, and it just became slower and slower the bigger the game became. So we decided that we want to do something different, and one solution could be to bake the shadows, but the problem is first that we have dynamic objects in the game, like the lamps would not be able to bake their shadows because you can move the lamps.
Or cake.
And baking lights and shadows, it doesn't look the same as when they're dynamic. But then we initiated this partnership with the Alexandra Institute, and together with them we found out that even though we have a lot of lights in our scenes, most of the time they don't actually move that much, so they're actually static.
Yeah, we were actually a bit surprised about how static our world was, because when we have designed it, like all our, like we envisioned like just the game that it's all dynamic, because we are focused so much on the moving parts of the lights that when they actually talked with us and said, like, hey, you know, most of your lights are actually static, we were like, oh, that's actually right.
That's right. And that was really nice when we found out, because then we could do something with it. But in Unity, you cannot have a light that is dynamic and static in the sense that we want it to be, because we want these shadow maps, but we just don't want to calculate them all the time. So what we came up with was a concept where we actually use the shadow maps that Unity makes for us, but we just say, hey, when when it's made, just stop making them until we tell you to make them again. And we did that in a way where if we have a thing that is moving, that could be a lamp, that could be a platform, that could be whatever. If it is moving inside the proximity of a light, then we know that we should dynamically update this shadow map. And this scene is a good example of that, because when the tram moves throughout the scene, we have a lot of lights and a lot of these hanging vines or plants or whatever you would call them. And they, of course, need to update their shadow maps. So when the tram moves, we update all the lights, but only when it is moving. So when it stops again, then we just stop moving or stop doing the shadow mapping. And that is basically how the system works. And throughout the whole game, we do this. And when it works, it's really nice, but there has been a lot of technical problems. But we hopefully solve most of them by now.
Yeah, like performance-wise, this really helped our game.
Yeah.
There was in some levels, we had like, what were they called? The shadow drawing objects? Or
shadow casters.
Yes, the shadow casters, they were like, we sometimes had like 20,000 of those calls every frame.
Yeah.
And with this new system implemented, we reduced it to 5,000 or less in a specific level, and that was a world of difference in terms of performance for that level.
Yeah. But it has been an interesting experience working with this, because on a concept, as a concept, this is fairly simple. But because of so many small details in our game, it has been difficult to make it work perfectly. For example, when you actually go into these halls between levels, what we do is we teleport the whole hall and the player to the next level. And that teleportation has been a huge problem in terms of this system, because they move from one frame to the other, and that movement is not always caught by Unity. So yeah, doing this kind of thing is fun, but really challenging.
Yeah, and we need these things to work 100%.
Yeah,
and we're just happy with the result we received in the end.
Well, that was highly just on the technical level, but I'm surprised by that not only does the player teleport, the entire intermission room, in-between room, teleports with the player to attach to the next level. That's kind of surprising to me. I would have thought it was just the player teleports into this clone of the same room and just is placed in the same position, looking the same way, and I guess all the lights and objects would be synced up or something with the other clone or something. I don't know if that would be more efficient or not, but yeah, that's kind of interesting. I hope they just keep working on the performance, because yeah, I mean, it's not bad. I feel like it would run pretty well if they could just fix the whole weird camera lag thing. Because like when I'm just sitting like this, it looks completely fine. It looks like it's running flawlessly, but then it's just the movement just feels really choppy. Like I've just talked about this so many times, but yeah, it doesn't feel like it's 60 FPS. It feels like I'm playing at like 30 FPS when I'm moving the mouse. But when you're just like moving like this, it feels totally fine. So it's really strange. It's just the mouse movement that does not feel smooth at all. And, well, I hope they haven't completely given up on that, and I hope they might tweak the performance a bit more. But yeah, we got cake here. Just stare at that for a couple seconds. So I think this is more like pudding or flan or jello or something. I don't even know. So I guess that's nothing. And then we had Lux here. Or, well, I mean, that's not even Lux. I guess this isn't Lux. Because it wasn't this painting that triggered the Lux audio earlier, but if that's not Lux, then who the hell is that cat? And why was it up, like, by Lux's house? I don't know. But yeah, okay. Let's move on.
Yeah.
Let it beam.
In this level, we kind of made the puzzles in small batches where we all went into puzzle mode, and this time we needed more puzzles with the sensor and the light.
I have an idea.
So that was kind of the premises for
the premises
building this level. Also, another thing when we made this level, we kind of wanted to reuse space. We try to do that as often as possible, but in this level we reuse the space with the big machines.
This one?
You kind of have to use the lamps to get into the room and move a lamp, and then you have to get out of the room again, and then open another door, and then move the lamp again in the same room. But you have to leave the lamp in the darkness. So, yeah.
Yes, that is indeed what you do in this level.
Generally has
Thank you.
A lot of darkness, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's just totally dark, the room behind the doors, so you have to use the light beams every time you need to do something there.
And to build upon that darkness, making this area was really nice actually, because I had something to start with. It was a good starting point because this was the area where Virgil
I'm fine.
already reveals his darker secrets and more experimental stuff. He just reveals a bit darker and faster paced part. So it was nice to build on because I had a starting point and I thought how to enhance it, and I've already had the style established in the room with the ovens where we bake the light beam heads. And in this one, there were these huge pillars that you had to go around at the time when I started thinking of what could it be. And we ended up having centrifuges that spin around, and they used to spin way faster, but they made Philip nauseous. Because we needed some movement around, and the environment was getting a bit too static, so...
Yeah, we're getting to the end of the game also.
Yes, so it had to be a little more intense. And these spinning things, like these exact centrifuges, were designed after the shapes of a grasshopper, actually, because I thought, okay, well, we need something that shows that there's some little bit of creepiness underneath, but couldn't use the very sharp angled edges that would normally go with that, because we still want to avoid the horror game look, or the fact that the environment itself or walking around in it is menacing, which it's not. Like, it's only the shadows that are menacing. So I had to design something that's sort of round and looks like you can touch it, but at the same time has a little bit creepier edge to it. So I looked a lot into all sorts of sections of grasshoppers, seriously, very gross research. And designed these whiskers by which they're held to the ceiling. Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's the origin of these machines.
Yeah, and we also the red color emphasizes that we are getting to something that's maybe not that pleasant as all the other things have been. And also with the sound design in these areas, it's in contrast to the planned area where it's kind of quiet and it's not very dynamic, the sound. This is more dynamic, it's more rhythmical to make you feel that, okay, something is happening here. And Virgil is getting more and more creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And upon hearing that sound, that's, I think, why I leaned in with more heavier machinery and a lot of metal and some scraping and things that, okay, this is rotating, it could be scraping against metal and making this nails on a blackboard sound, but except pleasant.
Yeah.
So, that was nice to work on.
Yeah.
Nails on a blackboard except pleasant. Okay. Not sure I know what you mean by that. And is this finally clonk? Can I finally clonk? If I just, like, get this one in here? Hey, Virgil, I'm clonking. Tell me off. I guess not. Whoa. Nice kick. Yeah. Does not seem to be the clonking one. Well, I mean, I'll check. If this one is long, I might not listen to all of it. We'll see. Oh my god! Okay, yeah, I'll listen to, like, a couple minutes of this, I guess, and then get back to it next time. Or maybe I should just stop right here. Maybe I should. Because it's kind of annoying to, like, listen to half of it and then cut it off and then stop recording and, like, come back next time and then I'll just have to sit through it up until that point again. So, yeah, maybe it's a better idea to just leave this one alone. Now it's just gone. I'll just have a quick look around. Though, honestly, I probably shouldn't even have a quick look around, because I'll have more time than enough. More than enough time to have a quick look around next time. That'll be like most of the episode, just that one devlog. Haven't seen any burgers in a long time. I don't know what happened to those. Yeah. Nothing much. Alright, well, I'll just leave it off here then. Not too much to comment on, really, in any of the devlogs from this episode and the last one, I feel. The only thing was that, like, you need a publisher and you need outside views, or your game is never gonna grow. I mean, I don't think that's necessarily true. I'm not saying it's always a bad idea to have, like, a publisher have outside contract workers or companies or whatever look and criticize your game and stuff, but I mean, sometimes you make a game that is just what you want it to be. I mean, sure, there's a technical aspect, like criticizing technical issues and, like, bugs, and it doesn't actually work. That's a completely separate thing, but, like, the whole, you know, gameplay, and if it's, like, boring, or if it's annoying, or if it's hard to understand, that's all subjective, and, like, some games are just designed to be that way and wouldn't actually benefit from having, like, a meddling second-hand party or third-hand party that would change things or want things changed to make it, like, more commercially viable or whatever. But yeah, that's... I don't really have anything profound to say about that. It's just... yeah, I'm glad they had a good experience with it, and I definitely think it's a good idea for games, especially games like this, I feel. But there's also a lot of games where I don't think that's the right choice. But yeah, that was like 2 devlogs ago, not the last one. The last one I don't really have much to comment on. But yeah, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this episode. I'll see you next time. Now we're getting closer to the end. I think it's like maybe 2. I mean, this one is very long. 2 or 3 episodes remaining of the dev commentary, I would estimate, but we'll see. Bye-bye!